This is John Clay, sports columnist for the Lexington Herald-Leader, and I'm here with my fellow sports columnist Mark Story. Kentucky plays Vanderbilt on Saturday at Commonwealth Stadium, a noon game on the SEC network. Kentucky's trying to snap a 17-game SEC losing streak. Vanderbilt's trying to bounce back from pretty much of a slow start. And I think, Mark, when we did video previewing the season, I think we both said that this is kind of the pivotal game of the season for Kentucky. And I think we both feel that way.
Yeah, I still think, Vanderbilt has not looked as good as I think maybe people anticipated. Probably that people were mistaken, were probably ascribing a little more strength to them than they should have, just given the personnel losses and the fact they've had a coaching change. But nevertheless, I think this is still, a game, arguably the most important game Kentucky will play this year for a whole lot of reasons, starting with ending that 17-game SEC losing streak.
And aside from that, what's the most interesting thing about this particular matchup Saturday?
The thing I'm actually interested in is not so much what's going to happen on the field, although I am interested, it's what's going to happen in the stands. Kentucky's had about 50 or announced crowds of about 51,000 for both their first two home games. There's been a huge push. There have been a lot of the players on Twitter, sort of imploring the fans to fill up Commonwealth for this game. They've discounted tickets, but it was interesting. Our colleague Jennifer Smith had a note this week that, quoting a UK publicist Tony Neely, is saying there still are about 51,000 tickets that have been distributed for this game. So, I think if there's not a pretty substantial walk-up, I think it sounds like we're going to be pretty close to where we've been the first two games, and I think that's a little disappointing from the UK perspective.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting thing to watch for. The thing that's interesting to me on the field is how Kentucky's going to react to this. I mean, they're at least a 14-point favorite, anywhere from 14 to 17 I've seen, and I don't think any of us can remember the last time Kentucky was a 14-point favorite in an SEC game. Has to go back to Rich Brooks probably, or maybe the first year
maybe
Joker.
I need to look this up, but maybe Vanderbilt in 2010 in Commonwealth.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah. But Kentucky's got a young team. These guys have been patted on the back for 2 weeks for coming close to beating Florida. It's going to be interesting to see how they react. Same thing with Mark Stoops. He's a young coach. He's never, as a head coach, really been in this position before. So it's going to be interesting for me to see if Kentucky can stay focused and do. I think if they play up to their potential, they should win the game. But I think it might be a tougher game than people think because Kentucky's never been through something like this before. As for a prediction, I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be closer than what people think. I'm going to say Kentucky like 30 to 27. What about you, Mark?
I'm going to tease my prediction. My prediction will be at the end of the matchups in Saturday's newspaper, which will be available online tomorrow afternoon. And I picked Kentucky 24-23 in the preseason. My prediction will be different this time, at least in terms of score, and you'll have to see in Saturday's newspaper which way I went.
That's a good tease and a good reminder for me to say that you can get all your Kentucky football coverage at Kentucky.com and in the Lexington Herald-Leader.